morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. I know we only had a World of Dummies a couple of days ago, but let's go again because we have two really good replays for you today. Don't you just wish when you join a game, don't you wish people would just shut up and play the freaking game? Because that is what we're going to have here. I know some people do want to try and be helpful, and I'm not just talking about this Death Star that's just said spot bush there. I'm just talking about in general. Like, people spend more time talking than they do playing, and that is exactly what we're going to have this game. If this player would just stop talking and play the freaking game, the outcome would have been completely different. So the tank we're going to be talking about is the Super Conqueror. Honestly, like, you watch him and you're thinking, okay, he's doing all right. He's not doing too bad in some aspects, and then you see at the end of the game and you're like, oh, okay, he did not do too well. Overall, the team did generally well, and they could have really won the game. Yes, they did kind of push too much, but sometimes, you know, it happens, and sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and, okay, yeah, we lost, fair play to the enemy. But it does not help when you have a player like the Super Conqueror in your team. So at the minute they're doing all right. That was a very nasty couple of shots there, and this is where he starts talking. So he's actually capping base B, and he's just telling the guys to cap base C. You know, don't attack them, don't fight them, don't play. Just get base C. Now our guy here, he has lost a lot of hit points. You know, it happens. He didn't really mean to. It just happened to be there was a Death Star at his side. He got shot from the FV4005, and he lost a lot of hit points, and it happens. So the Super Conqueror now, okay, he is saying, look, don't push, which I agree. To some aspects, I do agree. Like, don't push, because I know there is the Death Star here, which they can push, but you don't know where the other 5 tanks are. And as it happens, there's the object, and there is also going to be another tank coming around as well. So just because you only see one tank spotted, don't rush in, because you don't know where the other tanks are. And this is where the Super Conqueror is like, dude, guys, don't push. To be honest, if they would have pushed this side, you've got the E5 there, which is plenty of hit points. If you had the Super Conqueror as well, I mean, look at him. This is where I'm like, okay, what is he doing? He hasn't moved since capping base B. He could have been over here, or he could have been over here. Whatever way he decides, he could have been helping the team. But he hasn't been. He has just been sat there doing nothing, hoping to get the win on supremacy points. And then he says effing standard? I don't know what he says. But he could have completely changed the game, this game. If he wouldn't have just sat there waiting for the win, and actually attacking, then yeah, it could have been completely different. And even here, right? So he's going to try and go for the FV4005, which he knows he probably can't get the shot off. And this is where tunnel vision is very, very annoying. He is just focused on that guy. Look at this guy that he's just completely ignored. He's literally just completely ignored. He could have killed that guy. And even if he would have ignored the FV and gone for this guy, again, the Death Star remaining may have actually been able to carry this game, because there's not that much DPM. He had hit points, but if that T100 would have died, he would have been on 1,000 hit points. He would have been able to reload before anyone gets to him. But of course, with the T100 being fast, with it being very good DPM, it was just shambles. It really, really was. And he spent more time talking than actually playing, and that is very, very annoying. That's why I've done this game at sort of this video at World of Dummies and not so much banned, because you can't really get banned for that. And then the end of the game, he's only done 800 damage. Honestly, 800 damage because you was just too busy freaking talking. Very, very, very annoying. But let's move on to the next battle that we have. Now, this one is a little bit different because, again, the team do really bad. I'm not gonna lie. They don't do good at all. The platoon that we're watching, the guy that actually sent me the replay, him and the E100 really struggled this game. But there's two tanks we're actually looking at this game. We're looking at the E5 and we are looking at the Death Star, because they kind of get into a fight, and it's the Death Star doesn't help. So, or no, the E5 doesn't help the Death Star, so they kind of argue a little bit, and it's kind of funny. So this guy here, I mean, I'm not going to slate his gameplay. I'm not going to sit there and say he was bad, but he was bad. And the E100, they didn't have a good game, and you know, it's okay not to have a good game. It happens to everyone. It doesn't. You can't be OP and very, very good all the time. I don't know what their stats are, but you know, I'm not looking at their stats. But you know, at least they tried. They are around here on their own, and you do have the E5 sitting there in a tank destroyer position, so that really doesn't help either. So him and the E100 are trying to sort of sit around, you know, round by the ridge and just kind of wait, because they can't really push because there's just too many tanks around there. So first up, the AMX-30B, the other side of the map, he is now gone, so that is now one tank down. And if you look on the mini-map, the E5 and the Death Star are still in the same position, and he's sitting there saying to the E5 now, don't you see the 1-2-1? Don't you see him? I know he's talking about the E5 because he's the only one that is there, and he's moaning because he thinks that the E5 has just let him get shot, basically. Like, okay, I don't know why he's moaning about that, but you know, it happens. And then of course he starts to say effing useless, you are effing useless, blah blah blah. And to be fair, the E5's just, you know, he's not saying anything. He's not saying anything at all. But again, you don't know how good the player is. You don't know if he knows what position to get in. You would have thought, being at tier 10, you should start knowing these kind of positions. But I know at the moment you are looking at this gameplay, which is not very good at all. He's struggled. He's only got one shot. He's been shot from pretty much everyone. And of course, he is going to die, unfortunately. And of course, he's E100 as well. He really struggled and got pretty much 0 damage. And then you move on and you're like, come on, guys. They're over there trying to battle it out. Again, just like we've just seen. They're over there. Yes, they didn't do very well. The platoon didn't do very well. Not just the platoon, but the team in general. None of them do very well. But they're over there actually trying. At least they are trying. And that's all we ask for in the game. You know, I'm not going to moan at someone for trying. I'm not going to sit there and say, dude, you're effing useless. At least you tried. That is more than these guys did. So they're over there trying, while these two are just face hugging each other because they're like, there's no need for it. And again, I don't think it would have even mattered because the team were generally sort of really, really bad. You had a couple of them that actually did a decent job, but the Foch, really good job on the enemy team. But yeah, it just ruins the game for everyone, and they just need to play the game. They need to just shut up and play the game. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.